Three quarters, 3 years, one explosive mystery. The 1982, D, 1978, and 1996 P. Washington quarters hide shocking mint errors that turn spare change into jaw-dropping jackpots. From ghost strikes and double dies to vanishing details, these coins slipped past the mint, and now collectors are racing to find them. Could one be hiding in your pocket right now? Watch closely, because its secret could be worth thousands. In 1982, the United States Mint was undergoing a quiet transformation. The economy was strained, inflation was high, and budget cuts were affecting even the most routine operations. That year, the Mint made a decision that would ripple through the numismatic world for decades. It stopped producing official mint sets. For collectors, this meant fewer pristine examples of coins from that year. For the Denver Mint, it meant pushing production harder, faster, and with fewer quality checks. Among the billions of coins struck, one quarter, just one, would slip through with a mistake so subtle, so buried in routine, that it would take years to uncover. The 1982 D. Washington quarter was supposed to be ordinary. It bore the familiar profile of George Washington on the obverse, designed by John Flanagan, and the American eagle on the reverse, wings spread in defiance. It was struck in copper-nickel clad, weighed 5.67 grams, and measured 24.3 millimeters in diameter. The edge was reeded, the mint marked E stamped proudly beneath Washington's bust. Over 480 million of these coins were produced. But somewhere in that sea of metal, a few quarters were different. It wasn't a dramatic misstrike. No missing design. No off-center chaos. The error was quieter. A mise à la D. A weak strike. A mint mark that looked off. And it would take a collector named Daniel to notice. Daniel wasn't a professional. He was a schoolteacher with a weekend hobby. He'd inherited a small coin collection from his grandfather and spent evenings sorting through rolls of change, searching for anomalies. One night, while examining a batch of 1982 D quarters, he paused. One coin felt strange. The eagle's feathers were blurred. The mint mark was faint, almost ghost-like. He tilted the coin under the light. The obverse was sharp. Washington's profile was crisp, but the reverse looked tired. As if the die had given up, he compared it to other quarters. The difference was undeniable. The coin had a weak reverse strike, a misaligned die, and a mint mark that barely registered. He posted a photo on a coin forum. Responses trickled in. Could be die fatigue, one user said. Maybe a grease-filled die, another suggested. But one comment stood out. Check the weight. If it's off, you might have something rare. Daniel weighed the coin. 5.3 grams. Lighter than standard. He weighed it again. Same result. He checked the composition. The edge showed a copper core, but the nickel layer was thin, almost peeling. He sent the coin to a grading service. Weeks passed. The verdict came back. 1982 D. Washington quarter. Mise à la D. Weak reverse strike. Partial clad layer missing. MS 63. It was real. The coin had been struck with a misaligned die, resulting in a weak reverse. The clad layer had partially failed, exposing the copper beneath. The mint mark was faint due to die wear. It was a trifecta of errors, subtle, but significant. At first, Daniel didn't grasp the magnitude. He kept the coin in a flip, showed it to friends, and moved on. But then, he saw a listing online. Another 1982 D quarter with a similar error had sold for $450. Then another for $900. A high-grade example fetched $1,500. Daniel's heart raced. His coin was better than those. Sharper, cleaner, more dramatic. He listed it at auction. It sold for $300. The market began to stir. Collectors started revisiting their 1982 D quarters. Some found similar errors, weak strikes, misaligned dies, faint mint marks. Others discovered coins with double dies, broad strikes, and even off-metal strikes. The 1982 D quarter, once dismissed as common, was suddenly a hot topic. Full-on buzzed. Videos were made. Dealers added it to their error lists. The coin had crossed a threshold. It was no longer just a quarter. It was a mystery. The value evolution was unpredictable. Some coins sold for modest premiums, $50, $100. Others, with dramatic errors or high grades, commanded thousands. The key was condition and visibility. Coins with clear misalignment, exposed copper, and sharp obverse details were the most desirable. Redesignation coins, those with full luster, were rare in error form. Most had dull or uneven tones, a result of the clad failure. Daniel's coin became a reference point. Collectors compared their finds to his. Some speculated that the error was caused by a malfunction in the plating process, where planchets were improperly clad. Others believed it was a result of dye fatigue, where overused dyes created weak impressions. The mint never confirmed the cause. That only added to the allure. Then came the twist. In 2025, a collector named Priya discovered a 1982 D quarter struck on a planchet intended for a foreign coin. It weighed 4.8 grams, had a silvery tone, and lacked the copper core. She sent it for authentication. The grading service confirmed it. 1982 D Washington quarter. Off-metal strike. Foreign planchet. MS-65. It was the first known example of a 1982 D quarter struck on a non-standard planchet. The numismatic world buzzed. This wasn't just rare. It was unique. Priya's coin sold privately for $12,000. It became a sensation. Collectors speculated that the planchet had been mistakenly fed into the press during a transition between coin types. Others believed it was a test strike, accidentally released into circulation. The mystery deepened. The physical characteristics of the errors varied. Some coins had weak reverse strikes, indicating die misalignment. Others had faint or missing mint marks, suggesting die wear or grease-filled cavities. A few showed clad layer failure, exposing the copper core. The off-metal strike was the most dramatic, a complete deviation from standard composition. All shared one trait. They were born of imperfection, and that imperfection made them valuable. Collectors began cataloging the errors. The 1982 D quarter was no longer a footnote. It was a chapter. Dealers created guides. Videos dissected the anomalies. Coin shows featured them in spotlight cases. The coin had transcended its humble origins. It was a symbol of discovery. Daniel continued collecting, but he never found another error as dramatic as his first. Priya started a blog, documenting rare coin errors and sharing her journey. Her off-metal strike became the centerpiece of her collection. The community grew. Awareness spread. The 1982 D quarter became a legend, and yet the coin itself remained humble. A 25-cent piece. Lightweight, common in appearance. But within its clad shell lay a story of oversight, curiosity, and revelation. It was a reminder that history isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone to notice. The 1982 D Washington quarter error didn't change the world, but it changed the way collectors looked at coins. It taught them to pay attention, to question, to wonder. And in that wonder, value was born, not just monetary but emotional. A connection to the past, a thrill of the hunt, a whisper of mystery in a world of certainty. Comment here if you have one. The year was 1978. The United States Mint, operating under the weight of tradition and the pressure of mass production, continued its decades-long run of the Washington quarter. Since 1932, George Washington's profile had graced the obverse of the coin, a tribute to the nation's founding president. Sculptor John Flanagan's design remained untouched, with liberty arched above Washington's head, "In God We Trust" nestled to the left, and the date, 1978, etched beneath his chin. On the reverse, the American bald eagle perched defiantly, clutching arrows and an olive branch, flanked by the inscriptions United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, and $quarter. The coin's composition had changed since its silver days. By 1978, it was copper-nickel clad, 91.67% copper, 8.33% nickel, with a copper core. It measured 24.3 millimeters in diameter, weighed 5.67 grams, and bore a reeded edge. 3 mints were responsible for its production: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 521 million coins. Denver produced 287 million, and San Francisco issued just over 3 million proof coins. Most circulated quarters from that year were destined to live out mundane lives: parking meters, vending machines, forgotten change jars. But one coin would escape that fate. That IT was a Denver minted quarter, marked with a subtle D beneath Washington's bust. At first glance, it looked ordinary, but something was wrong. The eagle's wings were uneven. The olive branch lacked detail. The arrows seemed blurred. The coin had been struck off-center, just slightly. Not enough to be obvious, but enough to disturb the symmetry. And the mint mark? It was doubled, faintly. As if the die had hiccuped, the error was born in haste. The Denver Mint, like its counterparts, was under pressure to meet quotas. Dies were down. Planchets misaligned. Quality checks missed subtle flaws. And so the coin slipped through. It entered circulation. It changed hands. It vanished. Years passed. The coin lay dormant in a shoebox, buried beneath receipts and paper clips, until a collector named Marcus found it. Marcus wasn't looking for treasure. He was sorting through his late uncle's belongings, cataloging coins for sentimental value. Most were common: Lincoln cents, Roosevelt dimes, Jefferson nickels. But the quarters caught his eye. One, in particular, felt strange. The eagle looked off. He tilted the coin. The mint mark shimmered. Was it doubled? He grabbed the loop. The D had a shadow. A second impression. Faint, but real that he weighed the coin. 5.62 grams. Slightly under. He measured the diameter. 24.1 millimeters. Slightly short. He checked the edge. The reading was uneven. Marcus felt a chill. This wasn't just wear. This was something else. He posted photos on a coin forum. Responses varied. Die deterioration, one user said. Machine doubling, another guessed. But a veteran collector chimed in. Looks like a minor off-center strike with a double mint mark. Rare for 1978. Get graded. Marcus hesitated. Was it worth the cost? He researched similar coins. A 1978 D quarter with a 10% off-center strike had sold for $180. Another with a double die reverse fetched $350. A high-grade proof with a misaligned die had reached $1,200. The market was unpredictable, but the potential was real. He sent the coin to PCGS. Weeks passed. The verdict arrived. 1978 D Washington quarter. Off-center strike. Double mint mark. MS-64. Marcus stared at the label. MS-64. Mint state. High grade. The coin was authentic. The error was confirmed. He listed it at auction. Bidding started slow. $50. Then $90. Then $150. A bidding war erupted. The final price, $1, for $75. At the sale sparked interest. Collectors revisited their 1978 quarters. Some found similar errors: off-center strikes, doubled mint marks, weak reverses. Others discovered coins with broad strikes, clipped planchets, and die cracks. The 1978 D quarter, once dismissed as common, was suddenly a topic of fascination. The value evolution was erratic. Coins with minor errors sold for modest premiums: $30, $60, $100. But those with dramatic flaws, especially in high grades, commanded hundreds or even thousands. The key was visibility and condition. A coin with a clear off-center strike and a bold double mint mark was gold. But even subtle errors, if authenticated, could surprise. Marcus's coin became a reference point. Collectors compared their finds to his. Dealers added the 1978 D error to their watch lists. Coin shows featured it in display cases. The quarter had crossed a threshold. It was no longer just currency. It was a story. Then came the twist that a collector named Elena, based in Oregon, stumbled upon a 1978 D quarter with a reverse that looked foreign. The eagle was missing detail. The arrows were absent. The olive branch was replaced by a blank space. She examined it under magnification. The reverse die had failed. The coin had been struck with a severely worn die, resulting in a ghostly image. But the obverse was pristine. Washington's profile was sharp. The mint mark was bold. She sent it for grading. The result: 1978 D Washington quarter. Revers de Felure. Obverse MS-65. It was a split-grade coin. One side perfect, the other flawed. A rarity. Elena's coin sold privately $4.3. 200. The numismatic world buzzed. Reverse die failure was rare, especially in late 1970s quarters. Theories emerged. Some believed the mint had reused dies beyond their lifespan. Others speculated that a planchet had jammed, damaging the die. The mint offered no comment. The mystery deepened. Collectors began cataloging 1978 D errors. The list grew: off-center strikes, double mint marks, broad strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, reverse die failures. Each error told a story. Each coin was a snapshot of imperfection. The physical characteristics varied. Off-center strikes ranged from 5% to 20%. Doubled mint marks showed shadow impressions, often visible under magnification. Broad strikes lacked reading, spilling beyond the collar. Clipped planchets had crescent-shaped voids. Die cracks ran like veins across the surface. Reverse die failures created ghostly images, haunting in their absence. The impact was profound. The 1978 D quarter, once overlooked, became a collector's prize. It taught numismatists to look closer, to question assumptions, to embrace the unexpected. It reminded them that value isn't always obvious. Sometimes it hides in the details. Marcus continued collecting. He found a 1978 D with a partial collar strike, one edge reeded, the other smooth. He kept it. Elena started a blog, documenting coin errors and sharing her discoveries. Her reverse die failure became a legend. The community grew. Awareness spread. The 1978 D quarter became a symbol, not of perfection, but of curiosity. It was a coin that defied expectations, a coin that whispered secrets, and somewhere, in a forgotten drawer, another flawed quarter waits. Slightly off-center, faintly doubled, quietly rare, ready to be found, ready to tell its story. In 1996, the Philadelphia Mint was operating at full throttle. The economy was stable, consumer confidence was high, and coin production was booming. That year alone, over 925 million Washington quarters were struck with the P mint mark, each bearing the familiar copper-nickel-clad composition, weighing 5.67 grams and measuring 24.3 millimeters in diameter. The design hadn't changed in decades. John Flanagan portrait of George Washington on the obverse, the American eagle perched on a bundle of arrows on the reverse. It was a coin meant for circulation, not celebration. But buried in that mountain of metal was a mistake, a quiet anomaly, one that would take years to surface. The error wasn't dramatic. No missing design, no wild misstrike. It was subtle, a double the Opfese, the kind of error that hides in plain sight. The doubling appeared behind Washington's ear, raised, rounded, and unmistakable under magnification. Not machine doubling, which is flat and lifeless. This was hub doubling, true doubling, a second image ghosting the first, and it had slipped past every inspector. The coin entered circulation. It passed through hands, pockets, registers. It lived a normal life until it landed in the possession of a collector named Ravi. Ravi wasn't a professional numismatist. He was a software engineer with a weekend obsession. He'd inherited a coin album from his grandfather and spent evenings combing through rolls of change, searching for anomalies. One night, while examining a batch of 1996 P quarters, he paused. Something about Washington's profile felt off. He tilted the coin under the light. The area behind the ear shimmered. He grabbed his loop. There it was. A second curve. A doubled ridge. He felt his pulse quicken. He compared it to other quarters. The difference was clear. The doubling was real. But he needed confirmation. He posted a photo on a coin forum. Responses trickled in. Looks like machine doubling, one user said. Could be where, another guessed. But one comment stood out. That's a DDO. Double die Opfese. Rare for 1996. Get it graded. Ravi hesitated. He'd never submitted a coin before. But curiosity won. He sent it to PCGS. Weeks passed. The verdict arrived. 1996 P Washington quarter. Double die Opfese. MS 63. It was real. The error was confirmed. The grade was solid. He listed it online. Bidding started slow. $50. Then $90. Then $150. A bidding war erupted. The final price, $4.75. The sale sparked interest. Collectors revisited their 1996 quarters. Some found similar errors, doubling behind the ear, notches in the letters, splits in the serifs. Others discovered coins with die cracks, broad strikes, and even wrong planchet strikes. The 1996 P quarter, once dismissed as common, was suddenly a topic of fascination. The value evolution was unpredictable. Coins with minor doubling sold for modest premiums, $30, $60, $100. But those with dramatic doubling, especially in high grades, commanded hundreds. A few examples, pristine and bold, fetched over $1,000. The key was clarity and condition. Coins with sharp doubling and minimal were gold. Ravi's coin became a reference point. Collectors compared their finds to his. Dealers added the 1996 PDDO to their watch lists. Coin shows featured it in spotlight cases. The quarter had crossed a threshold. It was no longer just currency. It was a story. Then came the twist that a collector named Maya, based in Ohio, stumbled upon a 1996 P quarter with a reverse that looked foreign. The eagle was distorted. The arrows were missing. The olive branch was replaced by a blank space. She examined it under magnification. The reverse die had failed. The coin had been struck with a severely worn die, resulting in a ghostly image. But the obverse was pristine. Washington's profile was sharp. The mint mark was bold. She sent it for grading. The result: 1996 P. Washington quarter. Revers de Felure. Obverse MS 65. It was a split-grade coin. One side perfect, the other flawed. A rarity. Maya's coin sold privately $4 800. But the numismatic world buzzed. Reverse die failure was rare, especially in late 1990s quarters. Theories emerged. Some believed the mint had reused dies beyond their lifespan. Others speculated that a planchet had jammed, damaging the die. The mint offered no comment. The mystery deepened. Collectors began cataloging 1996 P errors. The list grew: double die obverse, reverse die failure, broad strikes, clip planchets, die cracks, wrong planchet strikes. Each error told a story. Each coin was a snapshot of imperfection. The physical characteristics varied. DDOs showed raised, rounded doubling behind the ear in the letters along the date. Reverse die failures created ghostly images, haunting in their absence. Broad strikes lacked reading, spilling beyond the collar. Clip planchets had crescent-shaped voids. Die cracks ran like veins across the surface. Wrong planchet strikes were the most dramatic, quarter struck on nickel planchets, weighing less, sounding different. One such coin surfaced in 2024. A 1996 P quarter struck on a nickel planchet. It weighed 5 grams, had a silvery tone, and lacked the copper core. The grading service confirmed it. 1996 P Washington quarter. Wrong planchet strike. MS 64. It sold $4 500, but the impact was profound. The 1996 P quarter, once overlooked, became a collector's prize. It taught numismatists to look closer, to question assumptions, to embrace the unexpected. It reminded them that value isn't always obvious. Sometimes it hides in the details. Ravi continued collecting. He found a 1996 P with a die crack running through the eagle's wing. He kept it. Maya started a blog, documenting coin errors and sharing her discoveries. Her reverse die failure became a legend. The community grew. Awareness spread. The 1996 P quarter became a symbol, not of perfection, but of curiosity. It was a coin that defied expectations, a coin that whispered secrets,